There exists a secret that very few people know. A secret about how to obtain everything you want without chasing it. There is a vast difference between wanting something and needing it desperately. Have you noticed? The best things in your life arrived when you stopped seeking them in desperation. That wasn't a coincidence. It was a universal law at work. There is a huge difference between desire that flows naturally and desire that comes from emptiness. Between acting and chasing. Between creating and begging. When you chase from fear, from lack, from the desperate thought of, "I can't live without this," you push away exactly what you're seeking. It's like trying to catch the wind with your hands. But when you let go, when you act calmly, when you trust that what is yours will come, something magical happens. Life begins to flow toward you. Today, you're going to understand how this law works, and more importantly, how to use it in your favor. This is not magic. It is a universal principle that most people ignore. And today I will share with you 10 powerful truths about this law that will completely transform your relationship with everything you desire. These are not cheap self-help tricks. They are deep principles that, once understood, will transform not only what you attract, but who you become in the process. And before we begin, I want you to do something. Go down to the comments and write "release to receive." It's not just a phrase. It's your way of sealing your commitment to let go of resistance and open yourself to what truly belongs to you. Lesson 1. Stop chasing. So life can come to you. There's something you need to understand about human desire. Not all desires are the same. There is healthy desire, born from clarity, that moves towards something because it resonates with you. And there is desperate need, born from emptiness, that moves towards something because you believe that without it, you cannot be complete. The first is magnetic, the second is repulsive. The difference isn't in what you want, it's in how you want it. You can desire a partner out of fullness, because you have love to share. Or you can need a partner out of lack, because without one you feel incomplete. The universe responds very differently to each vibration. When you desperately chase something, you send a clear signal. I don't have it. I'm lacking. I'm not enough without this. And that energy of lack is exactly what you attract. More lack. That's why the more desperately you need something, the more elusive it becomes. Desperate pursuit creates resistance, not only within you, but also in the very manifestation of what you seek. It's like swimming against the current. You can move forward, but every meter costs you triple the energy. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means stopping the resistance. It means taking action, yes, but from calmness. Taking steps, yes, but without attachment to the result. Staying open to opportunities, yes, but without clinging to them, having to arrive exactly as you imagine. Life has an intelligence greater than your planning. When you leave space for that intelligence, when you trust that everything has its perfect moment, something changes in your energy. You stop pushing and you begin to flow. And in that flow is where the magic happens. It's not about not desiring. It's about desiring from fullness, not from emptiness. About moving towards something because it calls you, not because you lack it. Because when you move this way, you are not chasing. You are allowing life to come to you. Lesson 2. Your energy determines what you attract into your life. Have you ever noticed that there are people who seem to magnetize good things without even trying, while others chase and chase but never achieve what they want? The difference is not in luck, nor in destiny, it is in their energy. The Stoics didn't talk about vibrations in modern terms, but they deeply understood this principle. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." What he meant is that your inner state paints your outer world. If you live in constant anxiety, in a state of desperation, thinking that you are incomplete until you get what you want, you project lack, and lack only attracts more lack. On the other hand, if you move with serenity, with clarity, with a sense of sufficiency, you attract situations aligned with that fullness. Seneca explained it with another angle. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. When you waste your inner energy obsessing over what is missing, you blind yourself to what is already present and possible. Let's be practical. Imagine two people looking for work. The first goes to interviews desperate, nervous, trying to prove they're worth something. Their insecurity is noticeable. They repel opportunities. The second prepares calmly, confident in their abilities, knowing that if this job isn't theirs, another will come. That serenity is magnetic. Who do you think is more likely to get the job? Life works the same way in relationships, in business, in personal growth. Your energy is always communicating, louder than your words. The Stoics would tell you, stop obsessing over what's outside your control and start mastering what is inside you, your thoughts, your emotions, your attitude, because that mastery is what radiates outward and aligns circumstances in your favor. Here's a simple practice. 1. Examine your thoughts. Ask yourself, am I thinking from lack or from abundance? 2. Shift your state. If you notice desperation, pause, breathe, and remind yourself, what is mine will arrive at the right time. 3. Act from calm. Take the necessary steps toward your goals, but without the energy of begging. Act with confidence, not with despair. Your energy is not a detail, it is the root of what you attract. As Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. If you want to change what comes into your life, don't start by forcing the outside. Start by transforming the inside. Lesson 3. Detachment is the door to abundance. One of the greatest paradoxes of life is this. The moment you stop clinging, you begin to receive. The more desperately you hold on, the more things slip away. But when you loosen your grip, what belongs to you finds its way to you naturally. The Stoics understood this long before modern psychology. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." In other words, peace and abundance come when you release your tight grip on what you cannot control. Detachment is not about indifference. It is not about saying, "I don't care about anything." Rather, it is about caring without clinging, loving without chaining, acting without enslaving yourself to the result. Seneca described it well. He who needs riches least enjoys riches most. Why? Because when you stop needing something to feel complete, you finally open the door for life to give it to you without resistance. Think of it like this. If you close your fist tightly around sand, most of it slips out. But if you open your hand gently, the sand rests there naturally. The same happens with opportunities, people, and experiences. When you stop clutching them, you create the space for them to stay. Detachment does not mean doing nothing. It means acting with trust. You prepare, you give your best, but you don't collapse if things don't go exactly as you imagined. You understand that sometimes what you want isn't what you need, and that life has a way of bringing you something better. Here's how to practice Stoic detachment. 1. Set your intention, not your obsession. Decide what you want, but don't live enslaved to it. 2. Release the outcome. Do the work, but understand that the result is not entirely in your hands. 3. Accept what comes. Even if it's different from what you planned, trust that life's design often knows better. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Receive without pride, let go without attachment." This is the essence of true abundance, because abundance doesn't arrive when you accumulate without measure. It arrives when you're free enough to receive and grateful enough to let go. The paradox is clear. The less you cling, the more life flows to you. Detachment is not loss, it's liberation. And in that liberation, abundance always finds its way to you. Lesson 4. What you chase out of fear escapes you. Have you noticed that the harder you chase something out of fear of losing it, the faster it slips away. This isn't just coincidence. It's a universal principle that the Stoics understood clearly. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have." And that is exactly what happens when you chase from fear. You hand over your power to what you pursue. Fear-based chasing creates desperation. Desperation communicates lack, and lack pushes away the very thing you want. Think about relationships. If you cling to someone out of fear they will leave, you suffocate them. If you beg for attention, you lose respect. Instead of bringing the person closer, your fear drives them away. The same happens with opportunities, money, recognition. If you pursue them as if your life depended on them, they slip through your fingers. Because the energy of fear is repellent. Epictetus reminded his students, "When you are attached to things outside yourself, you surrender your freedom. Fear makes you a slave, and slavery repels abundance." Here's the truth. What you chase with fear is not love, it's dependency. It's not opportunity, it's desperation. And dependency never sustains anything. How do you break this cycle? 1. Identify the fear. Ask yourself, am I pursuing this because I truly desire it, or because I fear being without it? 2. Replace need with choice. Instead of saying, "I need this to survive," say, "I choose this, but I'll be fine without it." 3. Act with calm confidence. Take steps toward your goals, but without the panic of loss. When you move with calm assurance, you become magnetic. Seneca captured it perfectly. He who is brave is free. When you stop chasing out of fear, you recover your freedom. And in that freedom, life finally begins to flow toward you instead of away from you. So remember, chasing out of fear is the surest way to lose, but moving with calm intention is the surest way to receive. Write this as a principle. What is mine will not be driven away by fear. It will arrive through my calm. Lesson 5. Trust the timing of life. One of the greatest sources of anxiety comes from believing that things must happen when we want them to. We think, if I don't get this now, it means it will never happen. And that belief creates unnecessary suffering. The Stoics remind us, life has its own rhythm, and if you try to force its timing, you only generate resistance. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Time is a river, a violent current of events, glimpsed once and carried past us. Another follows and is gone." Life flows like a river. It cannot be rushed or slowed down by our impatience. Our role is not to control the river, but to learn how to navigate it. Epictetus said it even more directly. "Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do happen, and you will go on well." This doesn't mean passivity, it means harmony with life's natural timing. Think about it. A flower cannot bloom in winter. It needs spring. Fruit picked too early is bitter. A child cannot run before learning to walk. Everything has its season. And when you respect the season of things, you live with less anxiety and more peace. Often what you think is a delay is actually preparation. Life doesn't deny you. It strengthens you until you're ready. That job, that relationship, that opportunity might not have arrived yet, not because it isn't yours, but because you need to grow into the person who can receive it. Here's how to practice trusting life's timing. 1. Release urgency. Replace "it must happen now" with "it will happen at the right time." 2. Focus on preparation. Instead of obsessing about when it will come, focus on becoming ready for when it does. 3. Observe nature. Remind yourself daily that nothing in nature is rushed, yet everything arrives exactly when it should. Seneca taught, "It is not that things are delayed, but that we are impatient." Life is not late, our expectations are too hurried. So when something you want hasn't arrived yet, don't see it as denial, see it as alignment. Trust that life, in its wisdom, knows when the harvest will be sweet. Write this as a principle. If it hasn't come yet, it's because the time isn't right. but it will arrive when it's meant to. Because peace doesn't come from forcing life's clock, it comes from trusting its perfect timing. Lesson 6. The universe responds to inner stillness. Have you noticed that the best answers often come when you stop obsessing? That inspiration strikes in the shower, during a walk, or just before sleep. Not when you're desperately forcing your mind to find the solution. That is no accident. The Stoics understood that inner stillness is the soil where wisdom and opportunity grow. Marcus Aurelius practiced this daily. In his meditations, he often reminded himself to retire into himself, to find clarity. He knew that when the mind is agitated, it clouds perception. But when the mind is calm, it sees reality as it truly is. Epictetus taught his students, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." In the same way, it is impossible to receive clarity or opportunities if your mind is full of noise, desperation, and endless searching. Stillness is not inactivity. It is not doing nothing. It is creating space inside yourself so that life can enter. It is silence that opens the door for the answers you're chasing so frantically. Think of a lake. When the water is turbulent, you can't see the reflection of the sky. But when the water is still, everything becomes visible. Your mind works the same way. Here's how to cultivate Stoic stillness. 1. Practice silence daily. Even 5 minutes of conscious breathing can shift your energy. 2. Step back from urgency. When you feel desperate for an answer, give yourself space. The answer often comes when you stop demanding it. 3. Trust the pause. The pause is not wasted time. It's fertile ground where clarity is born. Seneca said, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." If your mind is scattered, running after 1,000 things, you won't recognize the opportunity even when it's in front of you. But when you slow down, you finally see clearly. The universe responds not to noise, but to harmony. Not to desperation, but to serenity. When you are calm inside, you align with life's flow, and what you were seeking so desperately finally arrives, naturally. Write this as a reminder. When I am still, life speaks. Because the more you quiet your inner storm, the more easily the currents of life can bring you exactly where you need to be. Lesson 7. Gratitude attracts more than desire. Most people believe that the way to attract what they want is by constantly desiring more. They live thinking, "When I get this, then I'll be happy." But the Stoics, and life itself, teach us a deeper truth. Gratitude attracts more than desire. Why? Because desire often comes from lack, while gratitude comes from fullness. When you desire without gratitude, you're telling life, "I don't have enough. I'm incomplete. I need more to be whole." That energy repels. But when you live in gratitude, you send a completely different message. I already have enough. I am already blessed. I am whole. And that fullness is magnetic. It draws more of the same into your life. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every morning, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." Gratitude was not an occasional practice. It was his way of orienting his soul toward abundance. Seneca also wrote, "Nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart." And when the heart is grateful, it stops chasing what it lacks and begins to expand what it already holds. Think of this practically. Two people wake up in the same house. One thinks, "This is not enough, I need more." The other thinks, "How fortunate I am to have this space to live, this roof to protect me." Which of the two lives more abundantly, even before gaining anything new? The first is chained to desire. The second is free in gratitude. And here lies the paradox. Those who live in gratitude open themselves to receive more, while those who live in lack close the door to abundance. Here's how to practice Stoic gratitude daily. 1. Morning reflection. Begin your day by naming 3 simple things you're grateful for. Even the breath in your lungs counts. 2. Gratitude in adversity. When something unpleasant happens, ask, what lesson or strength can I be grateful for here? 3. Write it down. Keep a small notebook where you jot down moments of gratitude. Over time, this retrains your mind to focus on fullness, not lack. Gratitude doesn't mean renouncing desire. It transforms desire. Instead of, I need this to be happy, it becomes, I'm already happy, and if this comes, it will be a blessing, not a necessity. Write this principle for yourself. The more I thank, the more I receive. Because true abundance doesn't come to those who beg for more. It comes to those who recognize the treasure already in their hands. Lesson 8. You don't need to control everything for life to work out. One of the greatest illusions that creates suffering is believing that we must control every detail of our lives for things to go well. We plan, we calculate, we try to predict every outcome. And when reality doesn't follow our script, frustration consumes us. The Stoics would call this a trap. Epictetus taught, some things are in our control and others not. The chief task in life is simply this: to identify and separate matters so that I can say clearly to myself which are externals not under my control and which have to do with the choices I actually control. Your control is limited, but that is not weakness, that is liberation. When you stop fighting to dominate what you cannot, you recover the energy to master what you can: your mind, your attitude, your actions. Think about this. You cannot control whether people stay or leave, but you can control how you respond. You cannot control when opportunities arrive, but you can control how prepared you are when they do. You cannot control what tomorrow brings, but you can control the discipline with which you live today. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When you try to control everything, you suffocate life's natural flow. But when you let go, when you allow uncertainty to exist without fear, you discover that life knows how to arrange itself better than your anxiety does. Imagine a sailor. He cannot control the wind or the waves, but he can adjust the sails. If he obsesses over the storm, he will sink in despair. But if he focuses on his steering, he will find his way safely. Here's how to apply this Stoic principle. 1. Separate the controllable from the uncontrollable. Each morning, write down one thing you can control today and one thing you must release. 2. Surrender the outcome. Do your best, then consciously let go of the result. Trust that life is wiser than your fears. 3. Flow with reality. When things don't go as planned, instead of resisting, ask, how can I adapt? Seneca wrote, fate leads the willing and drags the unwilling. Life will move forward whether you fight or flow. The choice is whether you will be dragged in pain or led in peace. Write this principle for yourself. I don't need to control everything. Life works when I align with it, not when I resist it. Because in the end, control was never the key. Trust was. Lesson 9. Happiness comes when you stop needing and start being. Most people spend their lives chasing happiness as if it were a prize waiting at the end of the race. They say, when I achieve this, then I'll be happy. When I have that, then I'll finally feel complete. But that chase never ends, because every time they reach one goal, another appears on the horizon. The Stoics revealed a timeless truth. Happiness is not in needing, it is in being. Epictetus said it clearly. Freedom is secured not by the fulfillment of men's desires, but by the removal of desire. Meaning, happiness does not come when you collect everything you crave, but when you realize you do not need them to live fully. Seneca also wrote, the greatest wealth is a poverty of desires. Not because you must live deprived, but because when you need less, you discover that you already have more than enough. Think about it. A person who needs constant recognition will never be satisfied, Every praise will be too little. A person who needs possessions will never stop accumulating. Every new purchase will feel empty. But the one who learns to be content with what is, lives in abundance even before anything else arrives. Happiness, then, is not a destination. It is a state you allow yourself in the present moment. It is not, "I will be happy when," but "I choose to be happy now, with what I have, with who I am." Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. The external world is always unstable. People change, money comes and goes, circumstances shift. If your happiness depends on them, it will vanish with them. But if your happiness is rooted in your way of being, it cannot be stolen. Here's how to practice this lesson. 1. Simplify your needs. Ask yourself, what do I really need to live well? You'll find the list is smaller than you think. 2. Choose presence. Stop postponing happiness for the future. Practice saying, "Today I have enough." 3. Shift from having to being. Instead of asking, "What can I get?" ask, "How can I live with integrity, peace, and love right now?" Happiness begins when you stop chasing and start inhabiting your own life. Write this principle for yourself. I do not need more to be happy. I only need to be. Because the moment you let go of needing, you discover that happiness was never outside. It was always waiting inside you. Lesson 10. When you stop searching, what's meant for you arrives. Life has a mysterious way of giving us exactly what we need, but only once we stop chasing it with desperation. When you no longer run behind things as if your survival depends on them, you open the space for them to come naturally. The Stoics understood this paradox deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What is for you will find you." Not because the universe magically gives gifts to those who sit still, but because when you stop resisting and obsessing, you finally align yourself with the natural order of life. Think about it. Love often appears when you stop begging for it and start living fully. Opportunities show up when you prepare calmly, not when you beg anxiously. Clarity comes in silence, not in noise. Why? Because desperation creates resistance, while trust creates flow. Epictetus explained, "Seek not that events should happen as you will, but let your will be that they happen as they do, and you shall have peace." This is not passivity, it's wisdom. You still act, you still prepare, you still move, but you do it without chains, without the anxiety of, "It must happen now." The truth is, what is truly yours cannot be stolen, and what is not yours will never stay, no matter how hard you chase it. The peace comes when you understand this. You do not need to force life, you only need to walk in harmony with it. Here's how to live this final lesson. 1. Act without attachment. Do what depends on you, then release the rest. 2. Trust the order of life. Believe that if something doesn't arrive, it is because something better aligned with you is on its way. 3. Rest in sufficiency. Stop thinking you are incomplete until something arrives. You already are complete, and from that fullness, what belongs to you will come. Seneca summed it up beautifully. Align yourself with nature's flow, and you will never be poor. Oppose it, and you will never be rich. So, when you stop searching desperately, you finally allow space for life to surprise you. The right people, opportunities, and moments appear, not because you forced them, but because you trusted. Write this principle as your closing reminder. I don't chase, I attract. What is mine arrives in its time. Because in the end, peace and abundance are not rewards for desperate pursuit. They are gifts that come when you stop searching and start trusting. If there is one truth that unites all these lessons, it is this. Life is not conquered by desperate force, but embraced through calm trust. The more you chase, the more things slip away. But when you stand still, grounded in gratitude, trust, and inner peace, life begins to flow toward you. The Stoics were not dreamers, they were realists. They lived in the chaos of empires, wars, betrayals, and loss. And yet, they discovered that peace and abundance come not from controlling the world, but from aligning with it. You don't need to keep searching desperately. You don't need to prove your worth, beg for love, or fight against time. You only need to live with wisdom, gratitude, and courage. And then, almost mysteriously, everything that belongs to you finds its way to your hands. Marcus Aurelius said it best: "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." That is the art of letting go, and at the same time, receiving. So remember this: happiness, peace, and abundance are not hidden in the future. They are already here, waiting for you to stop searching and start living. If these Stoic lessons resonated with you, don't just listen, live them. Practice detachment, gratitude, and inner stillness, and watch how life begins to flow more naturally toward you. If you want to keep deepening this journey into Stoic wisdom, make sure to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell so you don't miss the next video, where we'll continue exploring timeless principles to strengthen your mind and calm your heart. And I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 10 lessons do you need the most right now? Share it in the comments. Your reflection might be the exact message someone else needs to read today. Finally, remember this: you don't have to chase what is yours. Trust, act with serenity, and allow life to bring it to you. Because when you stop searching, everything arrives.